So what if we took whiskey and we mixed it with rum? Well, surely that's going to be pretty good. It's just as good as I would figure. Don't recommend it, though. You'll get pretty fucked up pretty quick. But anyway, hey, we're fighting what looks like to be a Mediator Kawerik, a Mercedes, and a Rim. And honestly, one of the most annoying factors about this team is the fact that I was planning for a bunch of, like, Magic for Friends, Rim procs, counterattacks, just, you know, all the crazy shit to happen. And it doesn't really happen too much. I mean, hey, that's just kind of how it is whenever you really, really want to play around with the mechanics of Last Strider Krau, but like, hey, whatever. So we go into this with Troublemaker, Crozet, Last Strider Krau, and Roana. It's mainly just like a super safe pick, whereas we really didn't need Troublemaker, Crozet at all, really, because we were never really in any true danger of being in a lot of damage. But ultimately, I just brought it as a means of, oh, hey, what if you just, I don't know, didn't have any defense or whatever on your Last Strider Krau and you were afraid of getting, like, absolutely fucked by something or whatever. So that's kind of what I was thinking. It's like, oh, yeah, cool, I could just kind of bring that or whatever. But, like, the big plan was to proc Magic for Friends and to, like, you know, just to get stuff going. Like, right now, we're already completely fine on Last Strider Krau. He's ready to S3 yet again. These buffs to LRK are so damn fun. Especially if you have, like, a bunch of counter units that are on your team. Because if you do, you get free souls for that. Every counterattack gives you a little bit of souls. And if you manage to have, you know, 10 souls, and then it's time for Krau to go, and you can use a soul burn on his S3, you will get that S3 back so fast. Oh boy, the fun truly begins. Now, a lot of the other fun that is also associated with this is something that I wasn't really planning on, but it does ultimately kind of happen, is Mercedes is really about to die. Like, the next chance that we even get to really go into her with the LRK S3, more than likely she's going to die, and then that gonna kind of leaves Rim free to just go absolutely apeshit insane. Now, the good thing is we have enough souls to soul burn the Krau S3, and then whenever we go in, right after that, even if we get a Rim S3, or I mean, a Rim S2, like, you know, AoE proc, like we get right here, well, hey, looky there, that doesn't strip the immunity. It only reduces it by 1. So you still have 1 turn of immunity to really kind of like go ham-hocks into the Rim. Because you're not too worried about Rim whenever she's doing her, like, you know, her 2 attacks, especially if you have a Roana there with you and you happen to have immunity. Because if you do, you don't ever have to worry about some random death break that's going to happen. Because to those of you who may or may not know, anytime Rem has demon mode active, she just straight up, no matter what, you don't even look at the stats, doesn't matter. You have a 50% chance every time she hits you to activate death break, like what just happened right there with Crozet. That's just how it works. And whenever she has S2, like, AoE counterattacks you, anytime she does that whenever she has demon mode, that's just a guaranteed, like, one turn reduction on your buffs. So you have to think about that very, very carefully anytime you're going into a Rem. Like, Rem is super, super annoying, which is why so many people just choose not to play that fight. They usually bring something that will, like, one-tap it, or just some means of just not having to deal with any of her shenanigans at all. 100%, I completely understand it. Like, Rim is an absolutely cancerous, toxic unit. But, like, you don't really see her a whole lot anymore, mainly just because we have so much, like, death pin, just crazy-ass damage, things of that nature. And that's why Rim isn't, like, super, super scary anymore. And this is another one of the ways that you can really fight Rim, because, like, LRK just gives immunity. And with the way his buffs have gotten to where he just straight up gets that S3 super, super quick, you can utilize that to your favor. Let's see what's next. Okay, so we have Iseria, Destina, and Dark Corvus, and ultimately the ambitious Tywin's going to go first. Now, he recently got buffed so where he does stuns and death breaks. But ultimately, I don't really give a shit, because I brought Iseria. Iseria is going to S2 into Dark Corvus. That's going to give me complete skill 3 cooldown reduction, and then I'm also going to take this time, because it's still my turn, I'm going to S3 into the Karina. I don't give a flying fuck what your effect resist is. I have 160-something effectiveness, so unless you're rocking, like, somewhere in, the ridiculous areas of ER, which you're probably not on Karina because you need a lot of defense to really like utilize her stuff, you're good to go. And we're also rocking Proof of Valor, and I was very surprised right there. I actually survived the first hit on Savior Adin. Now, if we did die to Savior Adin right there, thankfully, we have Destina here with us. Destina would have revived with S3, then Dark Corvus would have gone, and then immediately just would have ended her. So that was a lot of just extra insurance that was on this fight. So now, all that we're doing, because like Ambitious Tywin being the annoying extra super fuck that he is going to just drain our souls over time throughout the fight with his S1. So we're never ultimately going to get the opportunity to utilize a Dark Corvus S3. Now, I could have gotten the chance to do that if I had a different artifact on Iseria. I could have been using Flan's artifact, because that just straight up gives you 10 souls. But, like, I'm pretty sure I use this Iseria for... You know what, honestly, I couldn't even tell you right now, because I used to use her for Katie's, and I don't think I use her anymore. So I could probably change it now. But hey, whatever. So, now that we've gotten the chance to S3 again, the Karina is absolutely dead. Like, that's 18k on an S3, and she didn't... I don't even think she had that level of HP. Now, Ambitious Tywin, on the other hand, has a little bit more than that. Like, you see right there, that's 25k. So we have to go into him just a little bit, just to kind of, you know, like, soften him up a little bit before we can S3 him, because, straight up, the S3 soul burn is just straight up not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Anytime Ambitious Tywin goes into you with his S1, yeah, he's just going to drain you of it just enough, and you're just not going to have the turn cycling to really get to it. Like, here I even attempt it, but it's like, yeah, you're not going to get there. It's just not going to happen. So, ultimately, all I'm doing is just, hey, just like whittle him down just a little bit until he's like in, so like right here, he's at 15k. So he is actually at like prime, like death conditions. So even just for fun, I was like, okay, cool, I'll just S3 you. I don't give a shit. And it's Dark Corvus' next turn. So guess who's going bye-bye, eh, Tywin? Oh, man. This is some good stuff. See, hey, Tywin. I don't love you. Oh, hey, if you listen to that right there, Destina had a very, very important factoid. She said that the light always wins. She was not lying with that statement. Get ready to watch some absolute fucked shit. So, hey, I love this game. Edward just keeps resisting with 15%. I love it. I love it to death. And, of course, like, yeah, now he's got Beguile on him here, and he's going to get hit by Savior Adin right here. Okay, not too big of a deal yet. We're still doing okay. And we miss on Savior Adin once. So I'm going to go ahead and keep track of this, because she gets missed on so many fucking times, it's actually fucking concerning. So we're at 1 right now. And ultimately, things are still looking okay. So what we do is, we're going to go into Ravi. Oh, cool, Death Break didn't proc. Get used to seeing that as well. I think it doesn't proc the entire fight. And that's like, I think, 3 different attempts. Hey, cool, Death Break didn't proc on Ed. Hey, cool, it didn't proc on Ed again. And now here's the first actual error. I think I absolutely did not mean to S1 right there. I wanted to S3, but I just misclicked. So that was a mistake on my part. And it probably costs me the match. But hey, we'll get to it when we get to it. And here we go for another hit with Alencia. I'm pretty sure we missed on Savior Adin again. Yes, we did. So that's 2. And right now, I'm starting to get a little bit worried. So cool, we finally get an equivalent exchange off. But the reason why I'm getting worried is because I didn't really know how to like go into this fight. I wanted to do like some Unbound Knight Arrowwell shenanigans here, but I was a little bit afraid of the Ravi, because like my Ed doesn't do enough damage to really deal with Ravi. So I wanted to bring an injury unit into this. So here is where I'm starting to get a little bit worried, because the Ravi still is somewhat healthy. We still haven't gotten a Death Break, because if I were to get a Death Break right now, the fight's over. And then I would immediately kill her. And then right there, yeah, Doris is at like ludicrously low health, and Ravi had speed buff, so thus she cuts me and beats me. So now we've lost our healer. So things are looking kind of grim. Now, what we try to do is we're going to go into a Ravi, and we're going to do a fairly decent amount of damage. Really sucks that I didn't get that off earlier. And then, of course, yeah, we have unbuffable. So now we can't get the follow-up attack. Sucks. But thankfully, with this attack right here, we end up getting the Ravi. So now we have to go into Lua and Savior Adin. And, hey, looky there, another miss. I've kind of lost count. I'm assuming that's 3 now. So that's 3 misses. And we're going into Lua and Savior Adin. And of course, the Lua is on Guiding Light. Now, because she's on Guiding Light, I can't hit her. So now I have to go into Adin. Boy, ain't this fucking fun. And I have Death Break. Cool. And that's 4 misses. So that is 4 misses. And we've lost our Alencia. And hey, that's 5 misses. Cool. So things are looking pretty grim right now. So if I was on perhaps, say, a Sigurd's Scythe, or... Alright, cool, that's 6 misses. Cool. So if I was on a Sigurd's Scythe or on like a Health Steal, that's 7 misses, by the way. And right here, I'm just like, I give up. Because, like, yeah, that's 7 fucking goddamn misses in a row. Fuck this character. I hate Adin, man. But anyway, let's move on to the next match. So... here we have Troublemaker, Crozet, Roana, and Lone Crescent Bellona against the dreaded Senya Choux Conqueror Lilias comp. So ultimately what this team actually is the Conqueror Lilias is on absurd effectiveness, probably like 150 or higher. And the Senya is actually on a very, very high attack build. She starts to do a lot of damage very, very quickly. So... I mean, she very well may have some effectiveness as well, because I see regular Provoke on my Lone Crescent Bellona, who also has Strax, by the way. So, like, that's like, what? Somewhere around the 60 to 70 range of effect resist? Or, because, you know, I mean, maybe I could have gotten unlucky. That's possible. But ultimately, I'm just going to start going into it, and I do make a very, very critical mistake going in through this, and I'll point that out whenever I see it. But basically, the mistake is whenever the team is just looking really, really shitty, I don't use Roana to go into the Senya to get some more health back. And right now, Bellona is the main target because her health is the lowest at the moment. So, like, the big issue that we have to really deal with is we need to heal. Like, this is bad. So, because we were kind of like put off guard by the debuffs that were affecting us. So the plan is still to kill Choux at the moment, but because of this like little minor setback, and also right here, that was the mistake. So I accidentally went into Choux whenever I had no reason to. I was supposed to go into Senya just to get a little bit more health back. That is probably like the death nail for what's going to happen later. But ultimately, we're still fine at the moment. It's just, I'm just now starting to realize how dangerous this Senya is because of the damage that she is dealing. So, like, honestly, I could have pivoted the fight right here, and I could have used, like, all of my available resources to just start going into Senya instead. But, like, I'm pretty much resigning the fact that I think Troublemaker Crozet can't possibly survive. So, like, yeah, I go into Senya right here, get, like, a decent little bit of health back. But, like, honestly, as soon as Choux gets the opportunity to really go into him, he's dead. Because we don't have S3 available. We can't do, like, a def buff. We can't do, like, a crit damage buff. We can't do any, like, pushing, anything like that. And also, like, right here, that little bit right there hits me. And then, hey, here comes the S2. That's not the follow-up, but that's just straight up the S2. He's dead. So, ultimately, right here, I decide, okay, I have to kill the Senya now. Senya is actually being more of a problem than Choux is, which is very rare whenever that happens. But ultimately, now we're just left with Choux and Conqueror Lilias. And Conqueror Lilias just dies from the AoE, just from the AoE that Lone Crescent Bellona does. So, we're really, really, really close to winning. We almost lose, like, really, really badly. So, I might consider editing this team just a little bit, because I was hoping that Troublemaker, Crozet, Roana, Lone Crescent would just totally work against that comp. But, I mean, that was probably my own fault whenever I accidentally didn't go into Senya whenever I was supposed to with Roana. But either way, moving on. So now we have Christy, Last Starter Krau, and Roana, and we're going into Archdemon Mercedes, and Conqueror Lilias. So the ultimate goal here was, this is an Archdemon's Shadow, that is on defense, so I have no reason not to assume that she absolutely must be on high effectiveness. She has to be. Like, if they're on defense, they have to be. There's no other reason why they shouldn't be, because on defense you can't have access to souls. So, with that being said, I decided to bring... Okay, so what if I brought Christy in with me? So that's an extra 100 ER onto my, what is it, like 115, something like that, ER Last Strider Krau. So, hey, we're in, like, the 200 range. So you shouldn't be able to strip me, and everything should be fine. But... either way, we didn't get really, really lucky to get a whole bunch of, like, S2 follow-ups from Archdemon Shadow. It's very, very unfortunate that that didn't happen, because that is where a lot of the fun really comes in, just because, like, Last Strider Krau will just get his stuff back so fast anytime he's affected by any kind of AoE attacks. In fact, I don't think we have it yet. We probably shouldn't. Yeah, we don't have it. But the good news is... we have our Soul Burn available, and like, hey, right there, Magic for Friends procced, but of course Magic for Friends didn't proc when she had attack buff, so we still don't have the S3 back. It really, really sucks when that happens, but like, hey, whatever, hey, what can you do? So, ultimately, we're ready for Last Strider Krau to go in and utterly decimate this team. It really kind of sucks that, like, a lot of the RNG didn't kind of work out in my favor for a lot of the stuff that I wanted to try with LRK, but in all honesty, the buffs that LRK got are mad fucking fun. Highly recommend building this character. He is super, super fun. All you have to do is you just need to make sure you have at least a little bit of effect resist. You do not have to make an effect resist monster, but, like, somewhere in, like, the 15 something range, just so you don't get, like, provoked locks by some bullshit like Senya or whatever, then you should be good to go. Now here I attempt to go into the Senya Lua Choux comp with the regular Lilias strap. Now it ultimately doesn't work quite as expected, because the Lua is actually on Spatiotemporal Fan. Now, Spatiotemporal Fan is really, really shitty, because it's like a 30% chance that the Lua you're fighting is going to be rocking that instead of, like, say, Guiding Light, for example. Because if she was on Guiding Light, then Rimuru would have gone, and I would have had an opportunity to go, like, into the Senya with an S3 instead. And then I would have had her pretty much dead to rights. Because Senyas don't have crazy amounts of HP. They just have a whole bunch of, like, attack, effectiveness, things like that. And they have, like, somewhat decent HP. So ultimately what we're dealing with right here is we killed Choux immediately with Zahhak, thank fucking God. But we're also still dealing with Senya. And Senya can one-tap all of my other units, as you're going to see right here. But thankfully, we were able to steal some buffs, and I attempt to go into Senya right here. Unfortunately, though, I do have Misty buff. And because of that Misty buff, you don't get the extra 10k damage. Anytime Rimuru misses, you don't get the extra benefits of his S3. Really, really sucks when that happens. But, right here, we still have counterattack that we stole from Senya earlier, hit Lua, and then because we're provoked, we just go into Senya right there. She was low enough health, and we just straight up delete her from the game. So, it worked, in a sense. It's just, anytime you're fighting Spatiotemporal Fan, that kind of, like, ruins your plans a little bit, so you can't really, like, it's not guaranteed, per se, because then you don't have, like, Rimuru do his shenanigans. But, either way, it's still a fun strategy, and I would really, really like to try that. It's just, I definitely am not using the correct Lilias for this. I'm still actually using damage Lilias at the moment. She's at, like, high crit damage and, like, decent-ish speed and stuff like that. Like, no defense, no effectiveness, no effect resist. And it's, like, it's honestly, it's kind of shitty. So I'm probably going to build Lilias sometime in the future with effect resist, bulk, and speed. Just because it just seems like a much better idea. Sure, that was bad luck in general because Lilias was hit by Senya. Which, hey, cool. I like how all the 50%'s really procced in the enemy's favor and did not proc in my own favor. Kinda sucks dick whenever that happens, because it really makes you question, like, the favoritism of right side as opposed to left side. But hey, I'm not angry. No, not at all. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. But either way, yeah, I'm not very happy with Lilias right now. I completely see where this strategy can work, and I'm definitely going to use it sometime soon. And also, I'm probably going to start building Shuna soon, because she recently got a buff. I'm very hyped for that. I just have to try and build something proper for it. But hey guys, I hope you like this content. If you did, leave a like, and if you want to see more of my stuff, please hit subscribe. It makes me happy. Hope you have a good one. Later.